The Andromeda Sector auction house floated in the black void of space like a massive crystal palace. Ships of every size and shape surrounded it, their running lights blinking in the darkness. Inside the main hall, hundreds of alien species gathered, their voices creating a symphony of clicks, whistles, and strange musical tones. Marcus Chen stood near the back of the crowd, trying to make himself invisible. He was just a small-time salvage dealer from Earth, and this place was meant for the big players. The Zythians with their 4 arms and silver skin, the Krell with their massive bodies covered in blue scales, the elegant Thessians who floated above the ground instead of walking. They were all here for one thing, the monthly auction of decommissioned spacecraft. Lot number 47, announced the auctioneer, a tall being with too many eyes. A Voltorian warship barely used, equipped with plasma cannons and shield generators. Starting bid, 100,000 credits. The alien smiled with all 3 of its mouths. Marcus sighed. He had exactly 1,200 credits to his name. At this rate, he would go home empty-handed. The auction continued. Luxury yachts, military frigates, even a Krell pleasure cruiser with its own swimming pools. Each one sold for amounts that made Marcus's head spin. He started walking toward the exit. This had been a waste of time. Lot number 93, the auctioneer said, sounding bored. A human vessel, designation USS Perseverance, recovered from the outer rim. 200 years old, heavily damaged, sold as is, no warranty. Entire sections were dark and broken. It looked like something that had been floating dead in space for centuries. This piece of junk, a Krell trader laughed, his deep voice booming across the hall. Humans couldn't build anything worth flying back then. Probably falls apart if you breathe on it. 200 years ago, humanity was just starting to explore deep space. Their ships were slow, clunky, and broke down constantly. Starting bid, the auctioneer said, clearly wanting to move on quickly, 500 credits. No one raised a hand or tentacle or whatever they used to bid. Come now, the auctioneer said. Surely someone wants it for scrap metal, 400 credits. It was part of history class. The ship had been part of the failed colonial initiative, humanity's first attempt to establish a colony beyond Earth's solar system. The entire fleet had vanished. Most people assumed they had all died, but here was one of those ships. Lost for 2 centuries, and nobody wanted it. 300 credits, the auctioneer said, sounding desperate now. Surely the scrap value alone. The Krell trader who had laughed earlier made a snorting sound. The human wants to buy human garbage, the Zythian said. How sentimental. Sold to the human in the back. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe he was just an idiot who made bad financial decisions. 2 hours later, Marcus's small shuttle approached the Perseverance. It hung in space in the auction house's storage field, surrounded by an energy net. Up close, it looked even worse than the hologram had shown. The barnacle-like growths covered most of the hull. Entire sections looked like they had been eaten away by something. This is Shuttle 7 requesting permission to board Lot 93, Marcus said into his comm. Permission granted, came the board reply. Good luck with your garbage. He connected his shuttle and waited for the pressure to equalize. Nothing happened. Right, Marcus muttered. No power, of course. His suit's lights cut through the darkness. The airlock was old-fashioned, with actual wheel handles instead of touch panels. Everything was covered in dust and frost. Marcus pushed forward into the main corridor. It was like floating through a tomb. He had seen pictures of ships from this era. They were cramped, uncomfortable, barely better than submarines. But this corridor was different. It was wider than he expected, taller. The walls had a strange texture, not quite metal, not quite plastic. Marcus floated forward, his magnetic boots clicking on the floor every few steps. He needed to find the main computer, see if any data had survived. Maybe he could sell the historical information. It wouldn't make him rich, but it might cover his losses. He turned a corner and froze. The corridor ahead glowed with a soft blue light, but that was impossible. The ship had no power. He had checked the readings himself. Marcus approached slowly. The glow was coming from panels in the walls. As he got closer, they grew brighter. The air suddenly felt warmer even through his suit. A humming sound filled his helmet. Systems activating. One by one, lights came on down the corridor. Panels blinked to life. And somewhere deep in the ship, something began to breathe. Marcus's heart hammered in his chest. "This isn't possible," he whispered. A holographic figure materialized in front of him. It was a woman, dressed in an old-style Earth Fleet uniform. Her appearance flickered and stabilized. She looked at Marcus with eyes that seemed too intelligent, too aware. "Welcome back," she said, her voice echoing in the empty corridor. "You're 197 years late." "I have been waiting a very long time." The hologram tilted her head. "You are human. I can tell from your biosignature, but you are not crew. Who are you?" "The ship has been dead for 2 centuries." "What are you talking about?" "So they hid the ship, hid the discovery, and set me to wait. There is much to show you, but first you should know this ship is far more than it appears. The colonial initiative failed because the fleet was primitive and weak, but the Perseverance," she paused. "The Perseverance came back changed." "Show me," he said. Arya smiled and began walking down the corridor. Marcus followed, leaving his shuttle behind. He did not know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. And so had humanity's place in the galaxy. Marcus followed Arya deeper into the ship. The corridors twisted and turned in ways that made no sense. He had studied the basic design of colonial initiative ships back in school. They were simple vessels with straight hallways and cramped quarters, but this felt different, bigger. Like the ship was somehow larger on the inside than the outside. "Where are we going?" Marcus asked, his voice echoing off the walls. "To the heart of the Perseverance," Arya replied. Her holographic form glided smoothly ahead of him, not quite touching the floor. "The crew's greatest achievement. What they built after they returned from the Remembrance. But you will understand better if I show you rather than tell you." Strange patterns rippled across its surface like veins carrying blood. "Prepare yourself," Arya said. "What you are about to see contradicts everything you know about human engineering." He was standing at the edge of a forest. Not a small hydroponics bay with a few plants in pots. An actual forest. Trees stretched up toward a ceiling so high he could barely see it. Vines hung down like green curtains. Flowers bloomed in colors he had never seen before. The air smelled fresh and alive like earth after a rainstorm. "This is impossible," Marcus breathed. "How can this fit inside the ship?" After the crew returned from the Remembrance, they began integrating what they had learned. The Perseverance is no longer just metal and circuits. It is a hybrid, part machine, part living organism. Marcus saw a flash of blue wings between the leaves. "Those are Earth species," he said. "Extinct Earth species. I recognize them from museum archives." They built this ecosystem as a test, to see if the technology from the Remembrance could sustain life indefinitely. It has been running for 200 years without any maintenance, growing, evolving, producing oxygen, food, and water. "Tell me about the Remembrance," Marcus said. "What did the crew find there?" "The colonial initiative sent 5 ships to establish humanity's first deep space colony," Arya began. "The Perseverance was the scout ship. Its mission was to map potential colony worlds. During the survey, Captain SATA-III detected unusual energy readings from a planet in an unmapped system. Ancient artificial intelligences that had been left behind by a civilization millions of years old. These AIs maintained a vast archive of knowledge, technology, science, art. The accumulated wisdom of 100 extinct species. They were programmed to preserve knowledge and pass it on to worthy species. But they had learned something over millions of years. Advanced technology given to an immature species is dangerous. It leads to war, destruction, extinction. Their ability to think beyond immediate gain. Arya paused. Captain Torres and her crew passed. Barely. The Guardians decided to give humanity a gift, but with conditions. To create ships that could heal themselves, to build ecosystems that could survive anywhere, to cure diseases thought incurable, to restore dying worlds. Arya's expression grew serious. But the Guardians warned, this technology could also be weaponized. Biological warfare beyond imagination. Viruses designed with machine precision. Living weapons that could consume entire planets. So what did the crew do? Others feared what humanity would do with such power. Remember, this was 200 years ago. Earth was still recovering from the resource wars. Nations barely trusted each other. Corporations controlled entire continents. Transform the Perseverance using the biotechnology, creating a living ship that could preserve the information indefinitely. Then they would set the ship to sleep and wait. For Earth to move beyond its violent adolescence. The crew programmed me with specific parameters. I was to remain dormant until the ship was found by someone who met certain criteria. Someone who saw value in a broken thing that others dismissed as worthless. Arya smiled. Someone like you, Marcus Chen. Arya led him to a section where the trees opened up, revealing strange structures that looked like a cross between buildings and giant plants. This is the archive core, Arya said. Everything the Guardians shared is stored here, not in computers or data drives. In the genetic code of the plants themselves, DNA storage that can last millions of years. They documented everything, their journey to the remembrance, the tests, the knowledge they received, and their hopes for the future. She sat in this very clearing, looking tired but determined. To whoever finds this message, Captain Torres said, her voice strong despite her exhaustion. We know what we're doing seems cowardly, running away, hiding. But we've seen what humanity is capable of when we're afraid, when we're desperate. The Guardians gave us a gift that could save our species or destroy it. We're not ready yet. Maybe in 100 years, maybe 200, but someday someone will find this ship. Someone better than us. Someone who can make the right choice. Just a small-time salvage dealer, barely scraping by. Someone who saw a forgotten ship and wondered what its story was. 200 years ago, a crew of brave humans had found something miraculous and made an incredible sacrifice. They had given up fame, fortune, and recognition to protect their own species from itself. And now, somehow, that burden had fallen to him. There's something else you should know, Arya said, her voice taking on an urgent tone. When I reactivated the ship systems, I sent out a power signature. Nothing major, but in a place as monitored as the Andromeda sector, it was noticed. Noticed by who? And when they arrive, you'll have to decide what to do with the Perseverance and everything it contains. Maybe less. Arya looked at him with something that might have been concern. The crew trusted that the right person would find this ship. Now we'll discover if they were correct. He thought about the knowledge stored in these trees, technology that could change everything, heal worlds, save lives, or destroy civilizations. 6 hours to figure out what to do with the most important discovery in human history. No pressure. Marcus ran through the corridors of the Perseverance, following Arya's holographic form. His heart pounded in his chest. 6 hours had seemed like plenty of time, but that was before he truly understood how valuable this ship was. How far away are they? Marcus shouted as he ran. 3 ships just dropped out of hyperspace, Arya replied, her voice calm despite the urgency. Consortium battle cruisers. They're hailing us now, demanding we power down and prepare for boarding. Screens flickered on, showing the space around the ship. 3 massive vessels hung in the darkness like predators circling wounded prey. They were sleek and modern, covered in weapons arrays and shield generators. The Perseverance looked like a barnacle-covered antique by comparison. "This is Consortium Commander Veltoth," a harsh voice crackled over the communication system. "Human vessel, you are in possession of potentially dangerous technology. Surrender immediately, or we will disable your ship and take it by force." Biological growth the crew engineered to make the ship look worthless. Underneath, the Perseverance is fully functional. More than functional, but Marcus, you need to understand something important. It was designed only to explore and preserve life. If you want to battle those cruisers, you cannot. Arya's holographic form smiled. "We run, but not like they expect. This ship doesn't move like their vessels. It doesn't think like them. The Perseverance is part human engineering, part biological instinct. It responds to intuition, not just commands. Trust yourself." He could sense the three consortium vessels as clearly as if they were objects in a dark room and he had just learned to see in the darkness. "That's it," Arya whispered. "The ship is reading your neural patterns, your instincts, your survival reflexes. Now when I tell you, think about moving, not left or right. Just think about where you want to be, where you feel safe. About being far away from the weapons pointed at him. About survival." The Perseverance moved, but it didn't move like a normal ship. It didn't fire thrusters or engage engines with a roar. It flowed like water, like a fish darting away from a shark. One moment it was sitting still in space. The next moment it was 3 kilometers away, leaving the consortium ships aiming at empty space. Marcus's eyes snapped open. What just happened? The biotechnology allows the vessel to respond to intention rather than mechanical commands. Other species' ships are rigid and predictable. They must calculate trajectories, fire thrusters, follow physics in predictable ways. But the Perseverance moves like a living thing. Instinctively, creatively. Think, Marcus, where can we go that gives us an advantage? But there, on the edge of the system, he saw something. The Serpent's Nest, an asteroid field so dense and chaotic that most pilots avoided it completely. Navigation computers couldn't calculate safe paths through it. The rocks moved in unpredictable patterns, influenced by the gravity of a nearby gas giant. "There," Marcus said, pointing, "the asteroid field." "But we don't think like a computer, do we? We think like something alive, something that can adapt." The Perseverance moved like an arrow, racing toward the Serpent's Nest. Behind them, the 3 consortium ships followed, their engines burning bright. "Human, you're making a mistake," Commander Veltoth said. "That field will tear your primitive ship apart. Surrender now, and we'll ensure you're treated well." They spun and collided in a deadly dance. "Trust the ship," Arya said softly. "Trust yourself." The same instinct that let a bird fly through a forest at full speed without hitting branches. The same instinct that let a fish navigate a coral reef. The Perseverance twisted and turned, sliding through gaps that seemed too small. It rolled and dove, flowing through the chaos like it belonged there. Marcus didn't think about each movement. He just felt where safety was and let the ship take him there. Behind them, the consortium ships tried to follow, but they relied on computers and calculations. Their targeting systems struggled to predict the erratic movements of the asteroids. One cruiser clipped a spinning rock and its shields flared bright. "Back off," one of the consortium pilots said over an open channel. "We're taking too much damage." The human is either suicidal or incredibly lucky. On the screens, he could see the consortium ships falling behind, forced to navigate more carefully. But they were still following, still determined. "We need to lose them completely," Marcus said. "Any ideas?" "See that cluster of asteroids near the gas giant's gravity well? The gravitational forces there create a phenomenon called the whirlpool. Space itself twists in unpredictable ways. Sensors can't read it accurately. Navigation computers fail completely. The biotechnology in this ship mimics those natural abilities. A section of space where asteroids didn't just move predictably but seemed to dance in impossible patterns, caught in gravitational currents that defied normal physics. If we go in there, we might not come out, he said quietly. True. But if the consortium follows, they definitely won't come out. Their ships are too rigid, too dependent on technology that can't adapt to chaos. They had hidden this incredible ship, trusting that someday the right person would find it, would know what to do with it. Was he that person? Marcus didn't feel special. He felt scared and out of his depth, but he also felt something else: determination. These consortium ships wanted to take the Perseverance by force. They wanted the biotechnology for profit and power, exactly what Captain Torres had feared. Let's do it, Marcus said, placing his hands back on the panels. Take us into the whirlpool. Follow him into the whirlpool. Arya, he said quietly, I hope you're right about this. The screens showed chaos and confusion, but Marcus closed his eyes and felt the patterns beneath the chaos. The ship moved with him, through him, like they were dancing rather than fleeing. Behind them, the first consortium ship entered the whirlpool. Its computers immediately began flashing errors. Its shields sparked as it collided with rocks it couldn't predict. The chase had become something else entirely, a test of different philosophies: machine precision versus biological intuition. Rigid calculation versus creative adaptation. The Perseverance emerged from the whirlpool like a whale breaching the ocean's surface. Marcus opened his eyes and gasped for air, not realizing he had been holding his breath. His hands were still on the control panels, trembling from the intensity of the connection. Status report, he said, his voice hoarse. All systems functional, Arya replied. The consortium ships are still in the whirlpool. 2 have sustained heavy damage. The 3rd is trying to help them navigate out. The Perseverance moves in ways that rigid, mechanical thinking cannot match. But now we have a decision to make. They showed data streams, communication channels, and sensor readings from across the sector. While we were in the whirlpool, I monitored the consortium's communications. They've called for reinforcements. Within 12 hours, this entire sector will be locked down. Every jump gate watched, every station searched. They want this ship, Marcus, and they won't stop until they have it. We could hide in deep space, living off the ship's ecosystem indefinitely. But is that what you want, to spend your life running? Somewhere out there were billions of beings living their lives, working, loving, struggling, hoping. And here he was with technology that could change all their lives, hidden away because humanity 200 years ago wasn't ready for it. What do you think, Arya? Are we ready now? Is humanity different than it was back then? Humanity has changed. You've moved beyond the resource wars. Earth is healing. Your colonies cooperate instead of compete. You're not perfect, but you've grown. And that's the real test, isn't it? The Guardians of the Remembrance didn't just give this technology to humanity. They gave us the responsibility to decide how it should be used. Not just for humans, but for everyone. They could try to reach human space and turn the ship over to Earth authorities, or they could do something else, something unexpected. Arya, can you open a communication channel to the consortium ships? All frequencies, impossible to ignore. They looked battered, their shields flickering, but they were intact and angry. Channel open, Arya said. Marcus took a deep breath. Consortium vessels, this is Marcus Chen of the USS Perseverance. I know you're angry. I know you want this ship. So let's talk about it. I'm offering you the truth about what it contains, and a chance to benefit from it without firing another shot. You have 5 minutes, Veltoth said finally. Speak. Create self-sustaining ecosystems. Heal diseases. Restore damaged environments. It's more valuable than you imagined. The technology is integrated into the ship's biological systems. Try to cut it out, try to force your way past the security systems, and it all dies. You'll be left with a dead ship and nothing else. What are you proposing, human? Shared freely to help all species. Your shield generator is failing and you have crew members injured from the impacts. Give me 1 hour. Let me bring my ship close to yours. I'll heal your wounded and repair your shields using the biotechnology. No charge, no conditions. Just a demonstration of what this technology can do. Why would you do this? Veltoth asked finally. What's your real motive? But I think we've all been fighting and competing for so long that we've forgotten what cooperation looks like. Let me show you. But either way, nobody wins. The technology stays locked away, and the galaxy keeps spinning with everyone suspicious of everyone else. Would the consortium choose force or cooperation? Stand by, Veltoth said. Marcus muted the channel and looked at Arya. Did I just make a huge mistake? It's hard to say. Understood. But if we can't trust them a little, how can we expect them to trust us? Strange flowers bloomed in colors that seemed to pulse with inner light. The medical biotechnology is stored in these plants, Arya explained. They can produce medicines, repair nanites, even replacement tissue. All organic, all grown rather than manufactured. He looked at Marcus with suspicion and pain in his eyes. Lay him here, Marcus said, gesturing to a platform covered in soft moss. The moment the Krell touched the moss, the plants began to react. Vines extended gently, wrapping around the injured areas. Flowers opened, releasing a faint mist that smelled like rain on Earth. The Krell tensed, ready to fight, but then his expression changed to wonder. The pain, he said. It's gone. What is this? The plants are analyzing your injuries and producing exactly what your body needs to repair itself. Give it 10 minutes. Even a human from the consortium crew who looked at Marcus with confusion. You're helping us, the human said. After we chased you, after we threatened you. Why? For helping people, all people. This is remarkable, Veltoth admitted grudgingly. I've never seen anything like it. Imagine what we could do if we worked together instead of fighting. We've been searching for solutions for decades. Is that why you offered this demonstration? Because you knew. To help species survive and thrive, not destroy each other. All we ask is that it's used for healing, not harming. But you've earned my respect, Marcus Chen, and my assistance. And somehow, impossibly, it had worked. 3 months had passed since Marcus made his deal with Commander Veltoth. 3 months that had changed everything. The Perseverance now floated in orbit around Veltoria Prime, the consortium's dying homeworld. From space, the planet looked sick. Brown clouds covered most of the surface. The oceans were gray instead of blue. Even the ice caps looked dirty, stained with centuries of pollution. Marcus stood on the bridge, watching the planet slowly rotate below. Behind him, Arya's holographic form monitored dozens of screens showing data streams from the surface. The atmospheric processors are working better than expected, Arya said. Toxin levels have decreased by 12% in the past month alone. I'm receiving requests for help from 47 different species, colony worlds with failing ecosystems, space stations with life support problems, even military ships asking if we can help heal their wounded. And we're just one ship. Each pod was 3 meters tall, pulsing with soft bioluminescent light. What are these? Marcus asked. The solution to our problem. The original crew prepared for this possibility. These are Genesis pods. Each one contains the genetic blueprint and base materials to grow a new ship, a new Perseverance. Each one can grow into a fully functional bioship within 6 months. They won't be as large as this original vessel, but they'll have all the essential capabilities. Medical bays, ecosystem support, data storage. Everything needed to help restore dying worlds. Who will make the decisions about how the technology is used? The original crew trusted you, Marcus, but can you trust others with this responsibility? At night, when he couldn't sleep, he would walk through the ship's forest and remember Captain Tor's recorded message. She had hidden the Perseverance because she feared humanity wasn't ready. Had Marcus proved her right or wrong by sharing the technology so quickly? "I can't do this alone," Marcus said finally. "And I shouldn't. This technology belongs to everyone, not just me, but we need to be smart about it. We need people who understand what this ship represents. People who will use it to heal, not to gain power." Una Park, a human xenobiologist Marcus had met when she came to study the ship's ecosystem. There was also Kresh, the Krell crew member Marcus had first healed, who had requested transfer to the Perseverance. And finally, a young Theshan named Sela who floated above the floor, her crystalline skin reflecting the bridge lights. "Thank you all for coming," Marcus said. "I have a proposal for you." About his plan to create a fleet of bioships dedicated to healing and restoration. About his hope that different species working together could prove that cooperation was stronger than competition. "I'm calling it the Perseverance Protocol," Marcus said. "Each ship will have a mixed crew, different species, different perspectives, but all working toward the same goal, helping life survive and thrive across the galaxy. We've seen what your biotechnology did for our world. In 3 months, you've accomplished what our best scientists couldn't do in 50 years. We want to be part of this. The complexity, the elegance of the design, it's beautiful. I would be honored to help crew one of these new vessels. You showed mercy when you could have shown vengeance. The Krell people respect strength, but we respect honor more. I will serve on your ships. We've spent centuries thinking about how the galaxy could be better. Now you're offering us a chance to actually make it better. Of course we'll help. There will be species who don't trust us, who think we have hidden motives. Some might even try to steal the technology or use it for purposes we don't intend. It works through cooperation. The ships themselves are designed to respond only to crews who genuinely want to help others. It cannot be weaponized without destroying itself. Any attempt to use it for harm will cause the biological systems to shut down. It's a final gift from the guardians of the remembrance, technology that can only be used for good. The Genesis pods were activated, beginning their slow growth into new ships. Marcus and his team recruited crew members from across the sector, scientists, engineers, medics, and pilots, each one carefully chosen not for their skills alone, but for their character, their compassion, their genuine desire to help. Marcus also made a difficult decision. He recorded a message and sent it on every channel, every frequency, to every corner of explored space. "My name is Marcus Chen," he said, looking into the camera. 3 months ago, I bought a broken ship at an auction, a ship everyone else thought was worthless. Inside, I found something incredible, technology given to humanity by ancient aliens, technology designed to heal and restore life. For 200 years, this technology was hidden because the humans who found it feared it would be misused. They were probably right, but I believe we've grown since then, all of us, every species. We've learned that cooperation is better than conquest, that healing is stronger than harming. We ask nothing in return, except that you use what we give you to help others in turn. Judge us by our results. I'm not going to waste it." 6 months after Marcus first bought the Perseverance, the first new bioship completed its growth. It was smaller than the original, sleek and organic-looking, covered in patterns that resembled tree bark. The crew named it Amazon after Earth's great rainforest. Dr. Park commanded it with a mixed crew of humans, Zythians, and Krell. Their first mission, helping a small colony world that had suffered an ecological disaster when their terraforming equipment failed. Marcus watched from the bridge of the Perseverance as the Amazon jumped to hyperspace, beginning its journey. Arya stood beside him, her holographic form looking almost proud. "They're ready," she said. "You did well, Marcus." About whether she'd approve of what I've done. I shared the technology so much faster than she planned. That's all anyone can do. The Yellowstone helped a volcanic world regulate its atmosphere. And everywhere they went, the ships of the Perseverance Protocol proved that cooperation worked better than competition. That healing was possible. That different species could work together toward common goals. Marcus received a message one day from the Andromeda auction house. The auctioneer who had sold him the Perseverance wanted to speak with him. When the hologram appeared, Marcus barely recognized the tall alien. He looked humbled, almost embarrassed. "Captain Chen," the auctioneer said, using Marcus's new title. "I wanted to apologize. When you bought that ship, I laughed at you. We all did. We thought you were a fool wasting money on worthless junk." "It looked like junk." "You taught me I was wrong. Value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden, waiting for someone curious enough to look deeper." The trees swayed in the artificial breeze, their leaves rustling peacefully. He found Captain Tor's recording terminal and activated it one last time. Her tired, determined face appeared in the hologram. "To whoever finds this message," she said again, "we know what we're doing seems cowardly. That we can be gardeners, healers, helpers. And you turned it into hope for the entire galaxy. But a reminder that the best things in life are often the ones everyone else overlooks." 23 crews of mixed species working together. 23 proofs that a better galaxy was possible. And it had all started because one human looked at something broken and saw the possibility of making it whole. "Arya," Marcus said, "where do we go next?" "That's what the Perseverance is for. Because sometimes the greatest treasures are found in the places no one else thinks to look."